Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hello Word. My name is Alex, and I am so happy to have you tuning in today. If you're ready to expand your English vocabulary in a fun, friendly way, you're in the right place. This episode is all about the words and phrases you can use for financial transactions and everyday banking situations. We will learn how to describe different tools, people, and processes that appear in a typical bank or payment setting. My goal is to make these words easy to remember, with clear examples and sample phrases you can start using immediately. As always, I encourage you to take notes, but more importantly, listen along and practice saying these words out loud. It is a wonderful way to build confidence as you familiarize yourself with new vocabulary. Today, we will focus on words like payment terminal, cash card, and cashier, among many others. We will explore what these terms really mean and, of course, how to use them in everyday contexts. I love to remind everyone that the best way to master new vocabulary is to see it, hear it, and then try it yourself in real conversations. So whether you are reviewing your bank account online, chatting about finances with friends, or planning your next trip to the bank, these words will come in handy. Let us begin our journey into the world of banking and financial vocabulary, and by the end of this episode, you will have a solid understanding of terms that may have seemed confusing or unfamiliar. Ready to begin? Let us get started. Payment terminal is the first term on our list. A payment terminal is a small machine or device used to process card payments in stores, cafes, restaurants, or anywhere else you might purchase something. It is the gadget that usually has a slot or a contactless reader for your card, along with a little screen to show the amount of money you need to pay. In everyday conversation, you might hear someone say, "Can I pay by card?" And the cashier could respond, "Sure. Just insert or tap your card on the payment terminal." This device is all about convenience and security, allowing you to move through a payment transaction quickly. For example, you could say, at the supermarket, "The cashier asked me to place my credit card on the payment terminal to complete my purchase." Or, in another common scenario, someone might ask, "Is your payment terminal working for contactless payments?" Because contactless is a popular way to pay these days. Essentially, the payment terminal is the modern solution to handling transactions without having to pass physical cash back and forth. Cash card is our second important word. A cash card is typically a card linked directly to your bank account that you use for everyday transactions and for withdrawing money. In some places, people simply call it a debit card. This card allows you to access the cash in your account whenever you need it, whether you are paying at a store or getting money from an ATM. In day-to-day interactions, you might hear someone say, "I only brought my cash card today, so I cannot pay with credit." Or, if you do not have enough cash on you, you can use your cash card at an ATM to withdraw some money. It is a safe and simple way to manage funds from your checking or current account. For example, you might say, "I always keep my cash card in my wallet so I can buy groceries quickly." Or, "My bank sent me a new cash card when the old one expired." These are the sorts of sentences that show just how common and practical a cash card is in everyday life. Keyboard is next on our list, and in a banking context, this can refer to the keypad on an ATM or payment terminal. Of course, the word keyboard more generally means the panel of keys that allows you to type or enter numbers, whether on a computer or another device. However, when you are at an ATM, you often use the small numerical keyboard, sometimes called a keypad, to input your PIN code or the amount of money you want to withdraw. You might say, "The ATM keyboard was not working properly, so I had to go to another machine to get my cash." In other contexts, it could be, "My laptop keyboard is not responding," which shows the more general meaning of keyboard. If you're teaching someone how to use an ATM, you could say, "First, insert your card, then type your PIN number on the keyboard." This highlights just how essential a keyboard is for entering information securely and accurately in a banking situation. Online banking is a term that has become very common. This phrase refers to the services provided by your bank over the internet. It could be through a website or a mobile app, and it allows you to check your balance, transfer money to other accounts, pay bills, or even open new accounts. Rather than visiting a physical branch, many people now rely on online banking for convenience. You might use it in conversation by saying, "I use online banking to pay my utility bills every month," or "Online banking has made life much easier since I do not have to go to the branch anymore." Another example is, "I set up my parents' online banking so they can send money to relatives without any fuss." In day-to-day situations, you can also hear, "I checked my account balance through online banking this morning just to make sure everything was in order." Essentially, online banking is about handling your finances digitally, wherever you are. ATM is a commonly used abbreviation for automated teller machine. This is the standalone machine where you can withdraw cash, check your account balance, or even deposit checks in some cases. It is usually located inside a bank lobby or outside in well-lit public areas. In daily expressions, people often say, "I am running to the ATM to grab some cash," or "the ATM ate my card," meaning that the machine got stuck or took the card without returning it. Another common usage is, "There is an ATM on every corner in the city, so I almost never go into a bank to see a teller." You might also hear someone give directions like, "Walk down the street, and you will see an ATM right next to the convenience store." This single term, ATM, is widely recognized in many English-speaking countries, and it is an absolute must-know if you are discussing banking or accessing your money. To withdraw money is a phrase you will often encounter when discussing bank transactions. This phrase means to take money out of your account, usually in cash form. It can happen at an ATM or at a bank counter with the help of a cashier or teller. For instance, in everyday speech, you could hear, "I need to withdraw money before I go to the market," or "I usually withdraw money from the ATM on Fridays for the weekend." Another example is, "Can I withdraw money if I forgot my bank card?" The phrase emphasizes the action of removing funds from your bank account. If you need to coach someone on banking vocabulary, you might tell them, when you want cash in hand, you go to an ATM or talk to a teller at the bank to withdraw money. To deposit money is a related but opposite phrase. This means to put money into your bank account. You can deposit money by handing over cash to a bank employee, putting a check into an ATM, or transferring funds from another account using online banking. In daily dialogue, you might say, "I have to deposit money from my paycheck," or "I want to deposit money into my savings account so I can start building an emergency fund." Another example is, "Can I deposit money without filling out a slip?" which might happen in some modern bank branches. Essentially, depositing money is the process of moving your physical or digital funds into your bank account for safekeeping. It is an essential activity whenever you want to keep your money secured and perhaps earn interest if it is a special kind of account. To write a check might be a phrase that feels less common these days, but is still important in certain contexts. This phrase describes the act of filling out a paper check that instructs your bank to pay a certain amount of money to a person or organization. You might say, "I still prefer to write a check for rent because it helps me keep track of my expenses." Another example is, many people choose to write a check when paying large sums of money, like tuition or a charitable donation. When you write a check, you typically enter the date, the name of the recipient, the amount in words and numbers, and your signature. While digital methods have become the norm, writing a check is still a useful skill if you ever need to mail a payment or handle a formal transaction that requires a paper trail. Account type is another important phrase in the banking world. It refers to the different kinds of bank accounts you might have, such as a savings account, current account, or other specialized accounts. People usually mention account type when they are opening a new bank account or clarifying which account they want to use for a certain transaction. You might hear someone say, "The bank representative asked me which account type I prefer," or "I checked my account type online to make sure I open the right one for my needs." Another example is, be sure to confirm the account type when you receive your new card, because different accounts come with different benefits or fees. Understanding your account type is a key part of managing your finances and making sure you are using the correct account for everyday spending, saving, or other goals. Current account is a specific account type that people often use for daily transactions, also called a checking account in some regions. This is the account where you likely deposit your salary, withdraw money for purchases, or pay your bills from. You might say, "My paycheck goes directly into my current account every month," or "I keep most of my spending money in my current account for quick access." Another example is, "I transfer money from my savings account to my current account whenever I plan a trip, so I have easy access to funds." The current account is the one you are most likely to use with your debit card or cash card, making it an essential piece of personal finance. By knowing the term current account, you will sound confident when talking about everyday banking in English. Savings account is another popular account type that allows you to set money aside and often earn some interest on your balance. People might say, "I opened a savings account to keep my emergency funds safe," or "My savings account helps me earn a little interest each month, even if the rates are low." Another example is, "I try to deposit some money into my savings account every paycheck, so I can plan for the future." Savings accounts are perfect when you want to grow your money gradually or keep it separate from the funds you use every day. For instance, a parent might teach a child, "Put your birthday money in a savings account, so it will be there when you need it later." It is a fantastic way to manage your personal finances responsibly. Account number is a term you have probably seen on your bank documents or debit card. It is a unique string of digits assigned by a bank to identify your specific account. When you transfer money or receive a direct deposit, you often need to provide this account number. In everyday language, you could say, "I need your account number to send you the refund," or "Please double-check your account number before you submit the payment form." Another example might be, "The bank teller asked for my account number so she could pull up my information." For security reasons, it is a good idea to keep your account number private and safe. For example, you might advise, never share your account number unless you are certain the person is trustworthy and needs it for a valid reason. PIN code is a critical piece of information in banking. It stands for Personal Identification Number. This code is usually 4 digits, but can sometimes be more, and it is something you enter to prove you are the authorized user of a debit card, credit card, or account. People might say, "Do not tell anyone your PIN code," or "I forgot my PIN code and had to reset it at the bank." Another everyday usage is, "The ATM requires you to enter your PIN code before withdrawing money." You might instruct someone new to banking, "Keep your PIN code written in a safe place, never next to your actual card, so thieves cannot misuse it." Your PIN code is central to secure banking, so remember it, safeguard it, and change it if you think it has been exposed. Counter is a place in the bank where customers go to speak with an employee for assistance or transactions that cannot be handled by a machine. You may see this referred to as the teller counter or service counter, but the word counter by itself often works fine in everyday English. For example, "I went to the counter to get some help with opening a new account." Another situation is, you can pay your bills directly at the counter if you do not want to use the ATM. Sometimes people say, "I had a problem with my card, so I spoke to someone at the counter for more information." Essentially, the counter is the physical spot in the bank building where face-to-face transactions happen, and it is a valuable place to seek assistance for more complex tasks. Cashier refers to the person who handles money transactions behind a counter. You may also hear the term teller in a bank setting, but cashier is a common word in many types of businesses. For bank usage, you could say, I handed my deposit slip to the cashier, or the cashier at the bank was very friendly and answered all my questions. In a retail context, you might hear, the cashier rang up my groceries and handed me my change. Another example in banking might be, I asked the cashier how long it would take for my check to clear. The cashier is responsible for processing your banking needs in person, making sure that any deposit or withdrawal is handled correctly. Whether you are speaking of a bank cashier or a retail cashier, this person is the frontline helper for your financial transactions. These terms form the foundation of everyday English banking vocabulary. By learning them, you can confidently describe different aspects of handling money, opening accounts, or taking care of your transactions. Whether you are using a payment terminal to buy groceries, withdrawing money from an ATM, or speaking with a cashier about your savings account, these words will help you navigate your finances without confusion. You can remember them better by noticing how often you see these items and roles in real life. The more you recognize these banking elements, the easier it is to recall the associated terms and phrases. With that, we have reached the end of this episode's vocabulary exploration. We covered a wide range of useful English words related to banking and finances, and I hope you now feel more prepared to speak or listen in scenarios involving deposits, withdrawals, and everyday transactions. As always, remember that practice and repetition are your best friends when it comes to learning a language. Try inserting these words into your conversations, or imagine explaining these terms to someone else. This helps you cement them in your memory and gain more confidence. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to Hello Word so you do not miss future lessons and tips. I would also love it if you could take a moment to leave a review, letting me know what you found most helpful or what you would like to hear in upcoming episodes. Sharing your feedback helps me tailor the show to your needs and ensures we are always learning in a way that feels practical and fun. Thank you for spending time with me today, and I look forward to exploring more fascinating English words and topics with you next time. Until we meet again, keep practicing, stay curious, and never be afraid to use your language skills out in the real world. Even if you make mistakes, that is just part of the journey toward becoming fluent. Take care, and I will see you in the next episode of Hello Word. Safe travels in all your language adventures.